Isn't she lovely? There you have it. Nancy Hebron, famously known as Tero. She's here with us in studio. And of course, she's here to tell us a little bit about herself and what she's been up to since she's been away and what else to expect from here. So Tero, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
We're really happy to have you. Tabs,
We are.
Wanze na kumwambia venye ako smart.
Aki, you're so smart. I can
Thank
see the grace of the Lord in you. Yani, you're just oozing
Amen.
grace and glory.
And
Wow.
it can show on their face.
You can see.
Oh,
You
we're
can't
really
fake
glad.
it, eh?
You can't fake it, by the way. You
Amen to
can't.
that.
Karibu sana crossover 101.
Thank you.
So you've just come back. You
Yes.
have been away for a while.
Yes.
And you've been known to have a show. You actually had a show
Yes.
6 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Six.
Almost 7 years ago.
Almost 7 years ago. But then you were not born again.
No.
And now you are.
Yes.
And people are wondering, okay, so when did this happen? Including myself. So that's where we will start by asking, so when did this happen for Tero?
Okay, for Tero, I've always had a relationship with God. Sema tu, unajua, we tend to leave God. He never leaves us, but we tend to leave him, maybe put him aside a bit, do things za dunia, and then come back. So I have always loved Jesus. I have always wanted to serve him. I just didn't know how. Yeah, so it happened a long time, nikiwa mdogo, when I was a kid. I guess it just became more intense. I actually got saved June 7, 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when I was like, okay, let's do this.
Were you
Let's do
still on
this,
the show at
Jesus.
that time?
I was, actually. I
Okay.
was. And that's why it was kind of a big battle for me because I wanted to serve God. And I still wanted to do TV, kinda, but I didn't know how to balance the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So salvation for you happened before you made the transition to
Yes.
move from the show.
Yes.
And then you moved from the show and you disappeared. So tell us where you went.
I went back home, and before I left, I knew that I was going back to serve God.
Where's home?
Home is Arusha, Tanzania.
Okay.
So, and in order to do so, I needed to not block, but I needed to give myself time away from the life I knew. So that's how I blocked I stopped. I wasn't on social media anymore. I changed my number, and I wasn't contacting anyone here at the time because I needed to give God time to mold me. I needed him to give him time to change me. I needed time to understand God. I needed time to understand what he wanted me to do for the glory of his kingdom.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So you had to make this transition.
Yes.
Did people know around here what you were about to do?
No, nobody knew, and I guess that's why it was such a shock to many. The only people who didn't know were my bosses because I had to resign, and I kind of lied. I told them I was going to study, and yeah. So I think that was the only easy access out of here, yeah.
Okay, great. So now you're a pastor's wife.
Yes.
You're a singer, just ventured into music ministry. But you told me that you were married, but when you were married, you didn't know you were going into ministry at all.
Okay, so we kind of knew we were going into ministry, but we didn't know how deep or how big or how God wanted to use us as his servants. So before we started ministry, we were together, but then we officially started when we were after getting married. So that's when we officially started preaching.
And how has it been for you so far? Coming from, excuse me, hosting a show, secular for that matter,
Yeah.
and then transitioning into salvation and then getting married and getting into full-time ministry. How was that for you?
It's intense. It's intense because I tell people being a wife is a full-time job, being a mother is a full-time job, being a pastor is a full-time job, being I don't know yet about music, but I hear it's also a full-time job. So it's by the grace of God. Honestly, you can't do it yourself thinking, kwa mwanadamu kama mwanadamu, we can't do it without God helping us through. We
Okay,
can't.
great.
Yeah.
It's by the grace.
Yes.
All right. Tab, do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually do. You see, that period after you decided to leave everything, is there a time that you wanted to go back? You felt, you just remember your days as a host, as a show host, and you remember the fame, the social media, everything. Was there a time that you wanted to go back?
No, because by the time I made that decision to leave, I was not fed up, but I wasn't happy doing media anymore. I was just doing it to, pay a bill, feed my stomach, dress. That's it. It wasn't something that would fulfill me anymore. I would go to work just because I had to. I would want to come back so that I could give people closure, but not, stand in front of the camera again.
So you don't see yourself in front of the camera again?
I don't know. I don't know what God has planned, because we're living for Him and we're living for what He wants us to do. So let's wait and see.
Okay, great. Yeah. Transitioning into music, you said you didn't know you were going to go into music at some point. But now there you have it. You're now singing. You have how many songs now?
I have 5. I released an EP in December, which has 5 songs and 5 videos.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So from December to now, you've done 5 songs, 5 videos.
Yes.
How has it been since?
It's exciting. I mean, singing is something I've always wanted to do since I was small, but I didn't know that was in God's plan as well. So I'm happy that He has allowed me to do that. Yeah.
And what is this that you're going to do different? We have musicians who've come, and others have stayed, others have gone. There's a lot of issues that's going on in the music industry. But what are you going to do different now that you're launching into something different for you?
I really want to put ministry into music. Music is very catchy. Very catchy. Like you can, even when you're teaching your children, I don't know if you have children, but when you're teaching them, if you do it via music, they catch it faster. Like even A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know why you sing it? It's because they catch it faster. So I feel like maybe in order to break through to people who don't even know Christ yet, the easiest way to do so is through music. Yeah, instead of preaching to them, what are you telling me? But if you put it in song and it's a catchy message and then it's a catchy beat, I know people here love to dance. So if it's a beat that can get them moving, I'm sure you're able to put across a very big message through music, and that's what I want to be able to do.
Okay, great. Yeah. We're looking forward to having more of your music. Are you going to go back home, or are you here now to stay?
No, I'm going back home. I'll be back and forth, but I'm still based in Arusha, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Tabs, final word?
Like, what are the challenges that you have, especially being a lady in the industry? There's so many lady musicians that you normally see, and then after a while, guys just disappear and go away. We don't know what happens. But what are some of the challenges that you face, and how do you face them? How do you overcome them?
For now, I don't know. Can I say I haven't faced any challenges yet?
Okay.
Because I started in September last year, so it hasn't.
You're just beginning.
Yeah, it's not been a long stretch yet. So I don't know. Maybe ask me after another 6 months.
We will. We will, right? Yes, we will. Yeah. My director is saying your Swahili is amazing.
Asante sana. Wherever you are. Thank you.
He's called Arnold. So say
hi Arnold.
Sema in Swahili.
Mambo Arnold. Bwana Yesu asifiwe.
Arnold say ameingia kwa hiyo kiti yako huko chini. Okay. So you're going to just a word of encouragement.
Okay.
Not necessarily music, now that you've just started, but also in life as general. In general, we're talking about discipleship today, and just being in salvation, when it's working, when it's not. You know what I mean? Not just getting in with a waiting for a ticket to heaven just because you're afraid of going to hell, but also knowing how to sustain your life in salvation. So maybe just a word of encouragement to people who are looking at you now.
Okay, so wow, salvation is very deep, but it's also very easy, and it's also very it's so many things. But you know what? Once you've given yourself to Christ, it becomes easier. And it doesn't mean you don't have to change overnight. Many people have that perception that if I get saved, I have to leave everything that I know. No, God tends to work with us. He's very patient with us because He knows that we are weak. And, take your time, give your life to Christ, allow Him to make a change, allow Him. He created us so that we could, worship Him. And there's so many ways we can worship Him, in music, in the job that you're doing, in the business that you're doing. And when you get saved, you're not an angel. You don't have to be an angel, but just give yourself to Christ so that He can make a difference through you in the society, in your family, and wherever you go. Yeah, and following Christ is, it's so fulfilling, isn't it?
It is.
It's so fulfilling.
We would wish everybody would just cross over to the other side.
We're all fighting for riches of this world, but you don't know you have greater things waiting for you up there, and the only way to get to them is through Christ Himself.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, because as people in this world, we normally go after what we see with our own eyes.
Yes.
But you don't realize that as Christians, we are supposed to go beyond what we see with our physical eyes.
Exactly.
There's something that goes beyond what I can see here. I can see someone has, and I'm like, I can see Grace on TV, then I'm like, I'm just like, no, you know what? I want to be on TV too.
Yeah.
If I don't do this, I'll take whatever, everything I can. I will do juu chini, nitafanya juu chini ili nikuwe pale kwa TV kama Grace. And you know, we go through all these things. We just do things that are not appropriate. They are not good as Christians. So
we follow other people's path other than ours.
Exactly.
And I think the struggle comes in when you're trying to be somebody else, and apart from what God has called you. And I'm really glad that you're sharing that you followed your you pursued your purpose. And you had to even give excuses to be there. And I think that's the most fulfilling thing about it.
Yes.
Okay, as we wind up, Taya miguu yangu. And this time speak Swahili, please, when you're explaining.
Okay.
We want to hear it.
Thank you. Yeah,
Demand.
I was waiting for that.
So yeah, tell us why Taya miguu yangu. And there's a lot of content in that music. As you said, it's catchy, you know, it speaks about the scripture and it's all this. So tell us in Swahili, Taya miguu yangu.
Taya miguu yangu kwanza kabisa ni historia ya maisha yangu kutoka nilivyookoka na jinsi Mungu amenitoa sehemu pagumu mpaka hapa nilipo leo. Na taya miguu yangu, unajua Yesu ndo nuru yetu, yeye ndo anaangaza njia yetu, yeye ndo anatuonesha njia ya kwenenda. Kwa hivyo yeye akiwa taya miguu yako, huwezi jikwaa, huwezi potea, huwezi vunja mguu. Jikwaa as in trip.
Jikwaa. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'm learning.
Yeah, so akikuongoza eventually utafika mahali pazuri.
Amen.
That's why taya miguu.
That's the best Swahili I've had in a long time. Miss Kwata nasikia message nasikia tu Kiswahili. But I get it. Jesus is the light for, the Bible says that he's a lamp unto our feet and the light unto our path.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Tero. Really
thank
nice
you for having me.
And hope to see you again and again. Please keep doing music. Tutakuita tena, si ndio? As you continue, you have to come and tell us how you've overcome the challenges.
Yes, I will. After how many months?
6 months.
Oh gosh.
We won't forget.
I just shot myself in the foot.
You just did. You gave us an appointment. 6 months after this, we'll be looking for you. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Tero.